What's going on, guys, and welcome back to WrestleRant, where every single week I, Graham GSM Matthews, break down all the pay-per-views that I watch on the WWE Network as well as on the Global Wrestling Network. I did lie last week. What else is new? I made a mistake. I said today we'd probably be talking about Battleground 2017, which is likely for the better because that show sucked. I will be talking about that, I believe, next week, in addition to No Mercy 2017 or Hell in the Cell maybe this coming Tuesday. Hell in the Cell 2017, then Battleground, and then No Mercy. So stay tuned for that in the coming weeks. But today we're talking WCW NWA Chi-Town Rumble 1989, obviously known for the famous, iconic, memorable main event between Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. The rest of the show held up pretty nicely. The undercard was not great at all. The first few matches were pretty deplorable, to be honest with you. But the final 3 or 4 matches or so I thought were pretty good, making it a solid show on the whole. So we kicked off the night with Michael P.S. Hayes taking on Russian Assassin #1 in a 15-minute match. This was way too fucking long. This was not exciting at all. Hayes actually looked pretty good here. This was not a terrible match, but it just suffered from going way too long and being way too boring. So Hayes won. So the right guy went over, but just the match itself really did nothing to kick off the night on a high note whatsoever. Sting and Butch Reed wasn't much better either. It was longer, but not much better. Way too many rest holds here. For the second match on the show, they should really be giving more exciting matches, and I'm kind of glad they got the bad shit out of the way first and built to the better matches a little later on in the show. But again, there was nothing exciting about this in the slightest. It was a match, a lot of rest holds. Sting won, as he should have, but that was it. It was just a fucking match that went way too long. If it was like 10 minutes, maybe. At 20 minutes long, there was no reason for this to last longer than pretty much almost any other match on the show with the exception of the main event. That's ridiculous. Thankfully, the next match picked things up a bit. It was the Midnight Express and Jim Cornette taking on the original Midnight Express and Paul E. Dangerously, obviously Paul Heyman, in a loser leaves NWA match. So whoever was pinned here would have to leave the NWA. Not the entire team, but just whoever was pinned. It was, in the end, Randy Rose of the original Midnight Express taking the pinfall loss. He had to leave the NWA as a result of the stipulation. This was a really good match. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought this would be, honestly, a bigger mess than it was just because of the involvement of Cornette and Paulie Dangerously. They played their roles remarkably well here. Cornette, specifically, had the crowd behind him. In the Midnight Express and the original Midnight Express, they were heels at this point, I believe. So I'm pretty sure it was 2 heel tag teams going up against each other. Didn't really seem to bother the crowd at all. They were into this. They were very much into this. They loved seeing Cornette go in there, beat the crap out of Dangerously. So I thought this was a lot of fun. Had the right result with the lesser heel tandem of the two, I guess, going over, with one member of the Midnight Express pinning Randy Rose to send him packing from the NWA. For the NWA World Television Championship, we had Mike Rotunda taking on Rick Steiner. Pretty good match here. I thought this was very good. Went about 15, 16 minutes. The lame finish was kind of weird. It was like one of those finishes where both guys had their shoulders on the mat. I think Rick Steiner did some sort of move where it looked like he was pinning Rotunda, but actually, in reality, he had his shoulders pinned down on the mat. I forgot what move it was. So Rotunda went over. Easily the best Mike Rotunda match I've seen on any NWA pay-per-view up to this point. So he goes over, becomes the new NWA World Television Champion. He had a good match. Rick Steiner had a good showing here. I think after this, he went on to tag team with his brother Scott. I'm pretty sure that came after this in WWE, so I believe they would team in NWA for a while, go off to WWE, come back to WCW. But yeah, good showing from him, but more so Mike Rotunda, who, again, I cannot remember a single memorable match that stood out in a good way for Mike Rotunda on these NWA pay-per-views. So I thought this was good and was also newsworthy for the title change alone. For the NWA United States Championship, another really good match with a similar finish, unfortunately. It was one of those finishes where a lot like the previous match. Now, to do it on the second, to do it, 2-on-1 show is one thing. To do one right after the other is kind of ridiculous. So it was one of those finishes where Wyndham had done a suplex to Lex Luger, and he had his shoulders down on the mat. So he got pinned. He thought he won. In the end, it was Lex Luger going over, becomes the new NWA United States champion. Despite the lame finish, kind of copying from the previous match that literally proceeded right before this one. Despite that, I thought this was very good. Wyndham, I mean, Luger was all right, but I thought Wyndham was the real star of this match. The psychology here, the pacing of it, I thought was on point. And again, one of the better matches I've seen Luger have. I know he had that great match with Flair at the last pay-per-view I talked about, which was, let's see here, Starrcade 1988, a few months earlier. And he got bumped down a little bit. He lost to Ric Flair on that show. Probably should have gone over. Easily the best Lex Luger match I've ever seen. But he kind of maintained that momentum here by kind of dropping down to the mid-card, but having another really good match with Barry Windham and going over as the new U.S. champion. For the NWA World Tag Team Champions, it was the Road Warriors taking on the Varsity Club. They retained the titles here. This was good, the Varsity Club. I forgot what the members' names were. But they felt like a match in power for the Road Warriors. Like they had the right size, the right amount of power. They felt like equals to the Road Warriors on paper, but largely this was a glorified squash for the Road Warriors. They just went over in quick and decisive fashion. The match was over in like fucking 8 minutes. I think the shortest match in the entire show. Yeah, it is. Looking at it now, it was the shortest match in the entire show and took place right before the main event. I guess it was designed to be filler, maybe to give the main event more time. I'm not sure. There's nothing wrong with the good old Road Warriors squash. I mean, the crowd loved it. But still, it really didn't have the chance to breathe, didn't really felt like it lived up to its full potential. Felt rushed more so than anything. But it was a decent match and probably had the right result with the Road Warriors going over, still the World Tag Team Champions. And then the iconic main event. What more can be said about this than what hasn't already been said in the past? For the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, it was Ric Flair defending against Ricky Steamboat. The first of many matches between the two. I think the first of 3. And they had a few more matches later on in 1989. This was the first of the 3. And as weird as this sounds, it was the weakest. Like, with the Okada-Omega matches, their first match was like 6 stars. But in retrospect, it was like the weakest match they had. Isn't that weird? Like, it was one of the best matches of all time, but still like one of the weakest of their trilogy. But again, this was a phenomenal match. Really, they got a ton of time to go out there, have a fucking fantastic match. Shades of Steamboat and Savage from WrestleMania 3, from just a year or two prior. I mean, they went out there, had just an instant classic, really no points, no dull points at any point in this match, just constant move after move after move. Had the chemistry on point, obviously, and it was just one sequence after another. It was like the whole Steamboat Savage situation, where it seemed like they planned out everything, and I can't be certain about that. I know that was the case with the Steamboat Savage match from WrestleMania 3, where Savage was like anal about scripting out every fucking move in the match, and it turned out to be a classic, but it really bothered Steamboat because there was a lot of pressure on him for him to deliver. I don't know if that was the case here. I don't think it was. And like I said, the chemistry that these two men have, or had at that point, was really something special, because it led to one of the greatest, if not the greatest, trilogy of matches in wrestling history. So the first match was phenomenal, as this one was. Just completely fantastic showings from both guys. They really just put forth the greatest effort possible. And I love the story with Steamboat refusing to give up, and in the end, that was what earned him the NWA World Championship. And again, it was the weakest match of the 3, which is pretty crazy, so I can't wait to watch the other 2. But this match was an amazing way to cap off what was a pretty solid show. Without this match, the show probably would not be worth watching, to be honest with you. It would be barely above average. But this match was what really put the show over the top as one of the most memorable NWA pay-per-views the company ever did, because of that iconic main event. So be sure to check out Steamboat and Flair in the main event. If there's any one match, it's obviously that one. But overall, it's not a bad show. There's like 2 or 3 matches I could do without, like Sting and Butch Reed, P.S. Hayes and Russian Assassin, and even the Road Warriors and Varsity Club match really was nothing to write home about. But Lex Luger and Barry Windham, Mike Rotunda and Rick Steiner, the Midnight Express and Jim Cornette versus the original Midnight Express and Paulie Dangerously, all very solid matches, very enjoyable. The crowd was white hot for that main event, and they were pretty lively throughout the rest of the show as well. Chicago can never be counted out as one of the best wrestling cities of all time. From this to All In, a couple, like last week I think it was, as I record this, Chicago will forever be known for its wrestling shows, from the NWA to WWE to, to All In and all these other shows and whatever. So they were an awesome atmosphere from start to finish. I thought they really provided the best backdrop possible for what was a pretty good show, all things considered. So be sure to check out NWA, WCW, and I say WCW just because it's under the WCW section on the WWE Network, so I don't want any angry comments like, oh, why'd you call it WCW Chi-Town Rumble? It's not WCW. Well, it is technically on the network, which is why I say that and put it in the title of my reviews. But check it out on the WWE Network, Chi-Town Rumble 1989. So this time, I don't believe I'm lying when I do say that next week we are talking Hell in a Cell 2017. Be sure to check out my 2 cents on that show. Hopefully as soon as Tuesday. I mean, these reviews really go up at random whenever I have time to watch them / review them, which is why this one went up so late. Be sure to check out that next week right here on WrestleRant and all the other content I put up throughout the week. There's no new networking show this week. That's why the video schedule's kind of been off, just because there was nothing new in the network aside from story time. So, and there's no like Ms. and Mrs. and no Total Divas and for another like 2 weeks or so. So maybe I might do like some random show or something from the network from years ago and review for network and chill next week. I'm not exactly sure yet, but stay tuned for that. That'll all be up next week and so on. Anyway, guys, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, drop a comment, and share the video. All that stuff is greatly appreciated. Have a great rest of your weekend. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.